Is everything working well?
Let's see.
You're live?
Should be. Very soon. There. Receiving your content. Your audience will see you in a moment. Hello everybody. Is anyone there? If you are, say yes in the chat. It would be absolutely awesome. And I'll know if everything is working. Hey, alright. Hey, Christy. Awesome. Alright, it seems as if everything is set up nicely. And so, yeah, we're just going to wait for a few more people to come. Alright, cool. Chocolate Dorito, hey. Alright, awesome. So, while we wait for people to join the live stream, I'm going to show you in a little more detail what we'll be creating today. So, I'm going to open up my game window. And so we're going to be making this sort of reflex slash mind-twisting game called Battle Letters. Whoa, look at all the people already in the chat. Awesome. So, here are the rules. You basically have health that acts as a sort of timer. And the game goal is to type in the most letters possible in this short amount of time. So I'm going to begin typing. Z, Z, A. And you got to make sure not to type the wrong letter, because if you do, health will immediately fall down to 0 and you'll basically lose the game and you'll have a crappy score. So yeah, the game goal is very straightforward, very easy stuff, but it's quite fun to play, and I hope you guys will follow along and be able to share with me your own high scores when we finish creating this game. My record for now is 55. So yeah, cool stuff. So with that said, let's actually open up Unity and begin creating. Let me check the chat, make sure things are all cool. Awesome, look at that, all the people already. That's great. Hey guys. Okay, so I've got an empty Unity project opened up. And the first thing we're going to do is create an empty game object. I'm going to reset its transform, and I'm going to call this Game Manager. And we're basically going to be drag and dropping all of our scripts onto this empty game object. So I'm going to create a new folder, call this scripts, and I'm going to create a new C# script. Now, for those of you who didn't check the announcement video, I want to state that this is a beginner level video, so you can really follow it with ease. We're going to be having a look at arrays, UI, really basic stuff. But it's going to be a load of fun. Okay, so let's call this GM for Game Master. And I'm going to open up inside of my scripting editor, MonoDevelop. Cool. Alright, the chat's doing well. So, I'm going to start by creating the random letter. So remember, we want a random letter appearing in the scene, so our player can know what to type and type the letter the fastest possible. So I'm going to start by creating a public array of type string, and I'm going to call this letters. I'm also going to be creating a public string variable, so just a simple string variable, and this one I'll call letter. And lastly, I'll create a private variable this time of type integer called index. Alright, so now we've got all of our variables out of the way. In my start function, I'm going to generate a random letter for our player to type. And this is really straightforward stuff. Again, if you're not really comfortable with arrays and variables, I highly recommend you check my brother's C# Fundamentals series. I actually linked it in the description. So if you're a real beginner, definitely have a look at that. Okay, so in my start function, I'm going to create my random variable. So I'm going to type index is equal to random.range. So I'm basically creating a random number here, and it's going to be equal to, let's say, between 0 and letters.length. So in my case, I am only going to have 3 letters, A, Z, and E, for my player to actually type in game. But of course you can, as I said in the announcement video, you can easily just type in a bunch of letters, even the whole alphabet if you want. And so yeah, this index variable will be equal between 0 and the number of elements you actually put in that letters array. So once that's done, I'm going to set my letter string variable equal to my letters array of index. So for example, if index here is equal to 1, then my string variable will be equal to whatever element is in my letters array of index 1. I hope that makes sense, but it'll be a lot more clear when we actually plug everything inside of Unity, which we're going to do right now. So I'm going to select my game manager empty game object, drag and drop my game master script onto it, and let's just type in my 3 letters. So again, I'm going to type in A, Z, and E because I use Azer keyboard. But again, you can use whatever letters you want. Alright, so before continuing, let me have a look at the chat. Lol, video having video is having problems to load. No, it won't load. Is everything going well with the video? Are you having problems in seeing it? Should be okay. Right. Zoom in code, please. Yes, okay, I'll definitely zoom in the code right now. Let me do that before I forget. Okay, so let's now head back into Unity and actually just debug.log my letter variable. So let's just make sure that my script is working well and I'm actually getting a random letter every time I hit play. So let's press play and you'll see in my console I get A, so all this code is working fine. Awesome. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my update function and I'm going to basically check whether or not my player hits the right key. Because remember, if the letter variable is equal to A, then the player has to type in A for his score to increase. If he doesn't, then he'll lose the game. So the way I'm going to check whether the player actually types in the same key as the string letter, I'm going to make an if statement. And first of all, I'm going to check whether or not he's actually typed anything in on his keyboard. So I'm going to write input dot any key down. And inside this if statement, I'm going to create another if statement. And this time I'm going to check whether he as well types in a string key. So if he types in some number or something, it won't count. So input dot input string, and I'm going to check whether what string is inputted in his keyboard is well equal to letter. If it is, then we're going to want to increase score. So I'm just going to create a little comment, increase score. But if he hasn't, so if he's if he's basically made a mistake, then we want to end the game. So I'm going to create another comment, end game. Cool. So now what I'm going to be doing is creating a public int variable called score. I'm going to set this equal to 0, obviously, and we also want a way for this score to display in the game view. That's really important, so our player clearly sees what's going on in the game view. So the way we do this is we need to type in a namespace. I'm going to type in using Unity Engine .ui. So now with this namespace, we can use all UI related stuff from Unity. So we can create text variables, image variables, all that cool stuff, and tweak it via script. So without further ado, I'm going to create a public text variable and I'm going to call it score display. Okay. As I'm at it, I'm also going to create another public text variable and I'm going to call this letter display, because obviously we need our player to know what letter he has to type in game. I'm going to head back into Unity. Let me check the chat, make sure I'm not going too fast. That's not a namespace. using Unity engine.ui. I'm quite sure it's a namespace. Quite sure. That might not be the right vocabulary. I'm not sure what that's what .NET extension. I'll definitely have to research that when I finish the video. I'm sure I'll be making mistakes during this live stream. This is my first time, but of course I'll be definitely checking into that and editing the video if need be if I make some really big mistakes. Okay, so let's go back into Unity, and I'm going to create two text objects. So I'm going to go create, head over to UI and click on text. So the first text element I'm going to be creating is going to be called letter display. And oh yeah, before I set up all this text, make sure that your canvas, under canvas scaler, make sure the UI scale mode is set to scale with screen size. And I'll set my scale size, my default scale, my default reference resolution, to 1600 over 900. So that'll be basically my reference resolution. And then I'm going to select my text, and I'm just going to shift select and put it on the top right corner of my screen. It's really tiny right now, so I'm also going to increase its size. I'm going to set it to, let's say, 75. Put in some placeholder letter. Alright, I'm also going to give it some margin, perhaps center it under the alignment. Alright, looking cool. Let's make it just a tad bigger. Okay, so let's call this letter display. And then I'm going to duplicate this text element. I'm going to put it over here and call this one score display. So basically here we are creating all of our UI elements that we will need to get our game working nicely. Score display. And I'm going to call this, I'm just going to type in a placeholder name, basically score, increase its size. I think I'm going to lower the font size to like 100. That should be nice. And also align it to the left with maybe a small amount, a little bit more margin. 5. Alright, looking good, looking good. I'm going to then select my game manager, and I'm going to drag and drop my score display inside this empty score display slot and the letter display inside the letter display slot. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do now is actually get these UI elements to display the right things inside of my script. Let's check the chat first. Okay, you can also make a namespace. Alright, things are looking cool. So, first of all, I'm going to want to, if I actually type in the right letter, I'm obviously going to want to increase my score. So I'm just going to type score and then ++ to increment the value of that score. Then, in my update function, I'm going to set score display dot text, and I'm going to set this equal to score plus score. And now my actual UI text will display score and plus the actual score value. I'll also do the same thing for letter, except this time letter display dot text will be equal simply to letter. Let's head back to Unity, press play, and all of this should work really nicely. And there we go. So I've got 0 for score, but if I type in E, I'll get my score increasing. I type in E again, score is increased again, E, or I'm only getting E, that's funny. Interesting. Letter display. Oh, of course, yeah, because I've only created my random letter in the start function. Now, when I actually press the right string, I need to create another random letter, or I'll just continuously type in the same letter throughout the game, and that won't be very challenging or fun. Now, if I press play, and I press E, A, and there we go, I get some random letters. My score is nicely increasing. Things are working really well. Alright, cool. So what do we have to do now? We've got the random letters working. we've got our score increasing, I think it's now time to actually put in place some timer and some penalty if the player actually types in the wrong letter. I'm going to check first of all the chat. Stream is lagging. Mine was 2, just reload the page. Okay, it looks like the stream is not doing too bad. Yeah, that's interesting. You should have a max time to press the key. I did think of that mechanic, and I really urge you to do that if you want to have some fun with this game when the stream is finished. But I actually felt like it was a bit too easy, even with a turn timer. It was more interesting if you were forced to quickly type keys with a limited amount of time and try to get the highest score possible. But yeah, that was an interesting idea. Good point. Yeah, like 0.5 seconds. I guess that could be interesting. Again, definitely urge you to do so. I'm not going to do it in the stream, but yeah, go ahead and add that to the game. It would really be cool. Okay, so now I'm going to add my actual turn timer, and I'm going to do this in another script, and I'm going to call it something like timer, simply. And before I forget, I'm going to select my game manager empty game object and drag and drop my timer script onto that empty game object and open it up inside of mono develop. I'm then going to create a public float variable, and let's call this, I'm going to call it health, because my game, as you may have seen in the little announcement video I made roughly an hour ago, my game is going to be sort of a war theme, like a battle theme. You see here I've made a couple sprites here, and I'll be implementing those in the game in a few minutes when I finish the rest of the project. But so yeah, I'm going to be calling this health. It goes more with the theme, but it will really act as a timer. And in my update function, what I'm going to now do is slowly decrease this health variable. So every second, health will decrease of 1. To do this is really straightforward, really easy stuff. I'm just going to create an if statement, and first of all check whether health is less or equal to 0. If it is, then we know we must end the game. As if, like the same thing as if we typed in the wrong key at the wrong time. So yeah, we want to end game, we'll do that in a moment. But if health is not less or equal to 0, we want to slowly decrease health. And the way we do this is by typing in health minus equal time dot delta time. And now our score, our health, our timer will slowly decrease. Obviously, we want a way to see this in the game view like we have for score and for our letter. The way we're going to do this is we're going to create another UI element. I'm going to create another namespace using, well, I think it's a namespace anyway, Unity Engine.ui. And I'm going to create a public text variable, and I'm going to call it simply health display. And you know the drill, we're just going to type in health display dot text is equal to health and plus health. And now we will slowly get a timer that decreases in the game view. So let's plug this in inside of Unity. I'm going to grab my score display, and I'm just simply going to duplicate this and actually lower this a little. Alright, that looks more or less okay. I'm going to call this health. Actually call it in the outliner health display. And then I'm going to select my game manager and drag and drop this health display inside this health display empty slot. Cool stuff. And now if I hit play, you will normally see, that is funny, it's not working. Oh, of course, I didn't, for now health is equal to 0. I obviously want to give my player the chance to win the game, to actually increase his score. So I'm going to set health for now equal to 30. And now if I hit play, you will see I get a cool timer. You may, however, not want all these decimal numbers, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get rid of those. All you need to do is type in health, and then you write dot toString, and in these parentheses, just type in F0, and that will let you get rid of all those decimal numbers, which could look a little messy and yeah, ugly. And there we go. We get a nice timer in our scene view. Cool. Oh yeah, on that same note, we may also want to get rid of this lowercase a. It kind of looks ugly. I think I just want capital letters. The way we can do this is by going over to scoredisplay.txt inside of my GM script, and here, just after score, I'm going to write, what do I need to write again? I believe, it's quite easy. I think it's something like upper, I think it's to upper. No, what am I saying? Of course not. It's here in the letter display.txt. Of course, this is an int variable. No. There, you have to write to upper. There we go. Now, we're going to get a capital letter. So let's refresh the game. Oh, Unity just bugged. Callback registration failed. Okay, no problem. Not a problem. Let's just open this up. Let me check the chats meanwhile. Where's my gem? Okay. Alright, things are looking cool. Of course, guys, if you want to ask any questions to me, go ahead, don't hesitate. I'll be happy to answer them. Alright, so there we go. Let's open back my Unity project. I often get that callback registration bug. I don't know what it is. If any of you may have a solution to that, definitely post away in the chat. Let's wait till Unity loads up. And normally we'll be able to see a cool uppercase letter in our game view instead of that lowercase letter, which looked a little weird. Okay. Let's open up my Unity scene, game, alright, and hit play. And now things should be working just fine. And they do. And there you see I've got my cool capital letter. Alright, looking awesome, looking awesome. Oh, so I've got a question here from Raphael J. For how long have you been creating games? Good question. I've been creating games for roughly 1 year and a half now. I've created about 10 games, a dozen games. You can find them all on itch.io. I'll provide the link in the description down below, so definitely check that out. So yeah, it's been a great journey. I'm just having a blast creating games, and yeah, I definitely intend to make many more in the future. Okay, so let's now continue with this timer, and now we're actually going to put into place the restart function, because now we have our health, our timer slowly decreasing. We now need to create a restart button when health actually falls down to 0. So I'm going to right click on my canvas, go down to UI and click on text, and I'm going to call this restart. I'm going to zoom in on it, center it by holding down Shift Control and clicking on this little gizmo here. I'm going to definitely increase the size of that text. What I should have done actually is simply duplicate an already existing text element, but as I'm at it, I'll continue with what I'm doing. And I'll also increase the font size a little to say 150. Nah, a little too big. 100, better. And I'm going to add, okay, I'll do that afterwards. Okay, this is my restart button. But when the game starts, I don't want it here. I don't want it in the middle of my screen. It makes no sense. So I'm going to go inside of my game, my timer actually, yeah, and create a public game object variable called restart button. And in my start function, I want to hide this restart button. So I'm going to type in restart button dot set active false. And now when I press play, when the game actually starts, my restart button will not display itself. However, when I actually lose the game, when health is less or equal to 0, then I want my restart button to actually be displaying itself in the scene. So dot set active equal to true. Let's head back to Unity, make sure all of this is working. And I hope you guys are following okay. I may be going a little fast, I say this again. I'm really not used to doing these sort of live streams, but I'm having a great time so far. What inspired you? Oh, okay. So Ectobit asked, what inspired you to start making games? Great question. I guess it's I just loved playing games. I really loved playing games. I was a huge fan of Skyrim, of Hearthstone. Loads of games that really inspired me. I began making little paper card games, and I had a blast with that. And I said to myself, why not make digital games? And so then I discovered Unity, and yeah, so that's how I got started. By really just loving playing games, loving everything about games. And so yeah, just figuring out I should make my own games. It's great. Okay. My streaming's... Alright, guys. You got the same story as me. Cool. Okay, so let's make sure this is all working. I'm going to now drag and drop my restart button inside of the restart button empty slot. Press play. And awesome. There you'll see that my restart button is not visible in the actual game view when I press play. Alright, cool. So now if I type the wrong letter, I obviously want my health, as I showed you in the beginning of the stream, to reduce itself to 0. And so what I need to do there is grab a reference to my timer scripts. And this is really easy stuff, really straightforward. I'm going to have to create a private variable of type timer and simply call it timer. And since these two scripts are attached to the same game object, all I need to do to grab a reference to that timer script is type in timer equal to get component and then type in timer script. So basically I'm going to grab the script, basically grab the component of type timer on whatever game object this script's attached to. Hopefully that makes sense. This is really basic stuff, but very, very useful. So let's now set my timer's health equal to 0. And now if I press play, let's purposefully, okay, let's wait till Unity loads up. Okay, now let's purposefully type in a wrong letter. So the game's prompting me to type in E. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to type in, let's say, G. And there we go. Health is immediately set to 0. And I need to restart my game. And so yeah, I failed big time. So, of course, this restart button doesn't work. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. We're going to get this restart button up and running. So I'm going to select the restart button, click on add component, and I'm going to type in button. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow me to basically change this basic text object into a button. A bunch of options in here. What we're really going to focus on is this on click section. And so what this will allow us to do is when we click on the button, we can basically call various functions from our script. Before we do that though, let's actually create the function that's going to allow us to reload our scene. So basically restart. So in my timer script, I'm going to create a public void function called restart. And in this, I'm going to just reload the current scene. Once again, I need to use a new new namespace. So using Unity Engine .scene management. And now I can type in here scene manager .load scene, and then scene manager again .get active scene .build index. So there's a lot of syntax going on here, but all you need to really know is that this line of code is going to reload the scene, our current scene. So really simple, straightforward stuff. And that is the function we're going to want to call from our restart button, excuse me. So I'm going to press on this plus button. I'm going to drag and drop my game manager game object inside of this empty slot and choose timer. And of course, I'm going to want to call my restart function. So I hope that's clear. But I'm going to say it again. As soon as you click on the restart button, this function right here will be called and will actually run. Let's try this out inside of Unity. Alright, I'm going to type in G. Restart appears. I'm going to click on that. And there we go. The scene is reset. Awesome stuff. Alright, let me check the chat. If you haven't joined yet, okay. Cool, yeah. Blackthornprod Discord server is a really great place. Loads of cool people, really awesome people in that on that server. You can share your games, share art, loads of nice stuff. And of course, I announce all my videos and stuff over there. And again, I will definitely provide the link in the description to my Discord server when I finish this live stream. Okay, alright, bye Ectobit. Have a good lunch. Okay, so without any further ado, let's continue creating this game. And actually, we're very near completion. Now, this game, as you can see there, for now, it's very simple, very bare bone. It's a pure prototype, but you can definitely go in later and have fun adding art, sounds. You can also add like new game modes, because for now, if I press play, you can see the health is equal to 30, but you can maybe even add a game mode where the player starts with 60 health or even 10 health. You're going to have fun, do all that cool stuff, but for now, I'm just going to... Let's add some cool shadows to our UI. So I'm going to go here, click on Add Components, and choose Shadow. And I'm just going to tweak the offset of that shadow a little. Alright, so we can see some cool shadow. I'm also going to slightly reduce the opacity of that shadow. Reduce it, whoops. Alright, already that can give a bit more of a style to your bare bone UI text. And for those of you who don't know, if you want some really cool looking free UI, you can go over to the asset store. It's going to connect to the asset store. Hopefully I have a good connection. It looks like I do. And you can type in Text Mesh Pro. And that's a really great Unity asset pack that you can find. Text. Oh, alright. Looks like the asset store is acting up a little. Again, I'll be providing that link in the description. But yeah, type in Text Mesh Pro. Really great asset pack. And it's filled to the brim with cool UI that you can use in your own games. And of course, it's all free. So yeah, definitely check that out if you want better looking UI than this. Okay, so now the last thing I want to add before wrapping up this very first Blackthornprod live stream is I want to add these little assets, some art to my game. Now you may have seen in the announcement video these little characters right here. I created them using Adobe Photoshop, and I highly recommend that you actually go ahead and create your own assets. Even if you're not really good at drawing, just go ahead, grab any free 2D application like GIMP, create some pixel art, and yeah, just create your own artwork for this game. It doesn't need to be fighting. You could also be in a dancing theme, a spell casting theme, sports, whatever you want. But yeah, have fun and do that. If you really do ask though, I could provide these assets on GitHub for you to download. So just ask away in the chat if you really want those assets. But for now, I'm just going to use these. Let me check the chat. What am I doing? Okay. Looks cool. Oh wait, if you haven't joined yet, okay. Alright, things are looking okay. Things are looking nice in the chat, really cool. So, without wasting another minute, I'm going to drag and drop this very first sprite I have imported in my Unity project inside my scene, and I'm going to reset the settings and then press F on my keyboard to frame in on it. If I after shift and hit space to quickly put a full screen on my game view, you'll see that these sprites are way too big. So I'm going to scale these down a little. Yeah, I think that's okay. And basically what I want to do here is simulate a sort of fighting scene, whereby each time you type in the right letter, these little characters will change pose. They'll change into one of these random poses that I created in Photoshop. So again, we'll be using random.range via script. This is really easy stuff. I'm going to go over to my Game Master script, and I'm going to start by creating a public sprite render variable, and I'm going to call this characters. And the last variable I'll be needing to make is a public. I'll be making a string, an array of type sprites. Don't know why I said string. It's an array of type sprites that I'll be calling poses. and we want this sprite of the sprite render to display a random pose each time I click, each time I type the right letter on my keyboard. So I'm going to head over right here, and I'm going to begin by creating an int variable called rand, short for random, and create a random number equal between 0 and the amount of poses in my array. Alright, so that'll be creating a random number for me. And then all I want to do is set characters.sprite equal to that random pose in my array, so rand. Again, if this is a little confusing, if arrays and random.range, all that stuff is a little weird or confusing for you, definitely go ahead and check out some of my other videos on my channel, especially the C# Fundamentals series. Alright, I'm just going to drink some water. Ah, awesome. So with that out of the way, I'm going to head back into Unity, select my game manager, and just drag and drop my poses01 game out. Actually, I'm going to call this characters. It's cleaner, nicer. So I'm going to select this game manager and drag and drop my characters game object inside of that empty slot. Now I also need to drag and drop all of these sprites inside of this poses array. So I'm going to do that, lock the inspector first of all, and there we go. So now everything should be working just fine. Let me just check the chats and then I'll hit play. This channel is to chat while streaming. YouTube chat is kind of buggy, so we can chat on Discord instead. Yeah, definitely. Definitely go ahead and use Discord if need be. I'm basically using YouTube for this very first live stream, but if I find out that it was a little too laggy or crap, I'll definitely head over to Twitch. I know that Brackies uses Twitch, so I definitely might head over there for my next live stream. And I'm planning on doing 2, perhaps like 1 minimum per month. Because I must say, I'm really having fun doing this live stream. I don't know, I may be saying a load of crap right now. I may be speaking way too fast, but at least I'm enjoying myself. And obviously, I'll get better and better the more I do these live streams. But I hope for now, you're all following well. Change. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Christy says I should change some OBS settings. Of course, I'll definitely be checking into those OBS settings. I thought I had everything nicely set up, but maybe I don't. Alright, set FPS to 60, okay. I'll have to check that afterwards. I'm not going to do that in the middle of the live stream because it might bug things, but yeah, I'll have to tweak that if need be. Double System says, nah, the stream is good, don't worry, okay. That is definitely reassuring, thanks man. No, do you need 400 FPS for Pro? I know you don't. Okay. Alright, so let's finish all of this up. Let's finish this game. And then maybe I can ask a few more questions. And yeah, I'll wrap up this very first live stream. Really happy with how things have come along. Really cool. So, let's hit play. And now, each time I type in a letter, you'll see that I get a random pose. Really cool. Alright, well guys, I believe that is the end of the prototype of this game. Now all you really need to do is polish it up, add game modes, add sounds. Oh, alright, there I typed in the wrong letter, and so restart appears, and I can restart, and the whole game restarts. I think the one thing I'm going to add is perhaps a fade panel, so when you lose, the screen slowly fades black, and yeah, it's a bit more clear that you've actually lost the game. So to do this, I'm going to select my canvas, right click, and select UI, and I'm just going to create a basic UI panel. I'm going to frame in on that by pressing F on my keyboard, and scale this up ever so slightly. I'm then going to change this to a black color, increase I think the opacity a little, something like that, and drag and drop my restart button under this panel game object. And I'm also going to change this restart button color to white. Yeah, that looks a little better. I'll also drag and drop the panel inside this restart game object because I want the whole thing, I want the panel and the restart button to hide and display itself depending on whether I've lost or not. Now all we need to do is add an animation to this panel. So I'm going to select animation and create a new animation. First of all, I'm going to create an animation folder. And I'm just going to call this animation fade in. Just if you don't know where to access this animation timeline, just head over to Window and choose animation. There you'll be able to access this really cool animation timeline. And again, I say this very often, but I'm really planning on doing a whole tutorial series on the channel on how to animate game characters using Unity and Photoshop or GIMP, softwares like that. So let me create this fade in animation. Make sure to hit this little red circle for record, so you're basically recording your animation. And I'm going to start off with the panel being having absolutely no opacity, zero opacity, completely transparent, as well as my restart text. I also want that to be completely transparent. At around roughly 1 second, I'm going to want my panel to fade in to about this. Yeah, that looks fine. And then I'll want my restart text to also fade in, but a little later. So I'm going to copy and paste that keyframe by selecting it, hitting Control-C, Control-V, and then I'll basically get rid of all opacity roughly 20 milliseconds after the panel. And so I'll end up with this animation. Awesome. I don't want my animation looping though, so I'm just going to head over to my animation, select it, and uncheck loop time. Now if I hit play, okay, I'm going to hit the T to lose on purpose, and there we go, I get a cool fading in panel, really nice. Okay, I'm going to drink some water again, and check the chat. I made the new channel for stream in Discord. Okay, awesome. Now we can use it as stream chat. Okay, awesome. So it looks as if Brown Rice Studio has created a new stream channel on Discord. That's really awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah, this Discord server, once again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's a really great place, full of really kind, friendly, and cool people. So if you're a game developer and want to chat with fellow creators or maybe share your art, share your games, definitely come along. It's a great place to be. Great place. Alright, and so yeah, I think that's going to mark the end of this live stream. Let me just give it a shot. Let me play my game, see how well I do. Again, my record is 55. Alright, it's harder than it looks. And if I make a mistake... Oh, there we go, I made a mistake. Health went down to 0, and my score was 23. You could, of course, add a cool text, maybe displaying your end score. I'm not going to do that. You definitely have enough techniques. I definitely showed you how to do that in this tutorial. So yeah, that would actually be a good challenge if you went ahead and gave it a shot. Alright, give this one more time. Let me try and maybe beat my record live. I highly doubt that. I'm really not good at playing games and speaking at the same time. Okay. Yes. And I might actually come on. Alright, 39, not bad. Considering I was talking and everything, not bad at all. Okay. So that's going to mark the end of the live stream, and yes, I was going to say I'm probably going to add the link to play this game in the description. It's not 100% sure, but yeah, I might add this little game to itch.io or Newsgrounds, and if it's there, just definitely go ahead and check the description. Okay, I'm now going to head over to the chat. Perhaps there's some questions I can answer. When are you making the live stream about how to make, the Fire of Belief replica? That is a great suggestion, Christian. I actually might make that my next live stream. I would definitely enjoy making a simplified version of the Fire of Belief. That was a game I had a huge amount of fun making, and I definitely wouldn't mind recreating a simplified version of it live on YouTube or on Twitch. What else is there? Double System says, I think the Fire of Belief is too big to make a tutorial on it. That is true, it's way too big to make a tutorial on it. It's a huge game. Well, it's my biggest game anyway that I've made so far. but it would definitely be a very simple version of it. I probably would simply create the player movement, maybe just one enemy type, put in place the random level generation. It'll be very simple, of course, and maybe add one boss, who knows. What else is there? Hi dude, good luck with that, okay. Alright, thank Ruslan. Think he liked the stream, cool. Alright, awesome. Oh, okay, Ruslan's asking, can you give, I think that's how we pronounce your name, Ruslan. Hopefully I'm not saying it badly. So can you give some tips about 2D gravity system? Very interesting. Well, 2D gravity is very simple. With Unity makes it very simple. I'm sure you know about the rigid body, 2D rigid body. I'm not going to show this on the live stream in case I start saying a load of crap. But I actually might make a tutorial on that topic, 2D physics and all that. It's really cool. Might even showcase the Unity's 2D effectors, which can you can get some really cool effects with the 2D effectors, with rigid body, with the bounce material, all that stuff. Can you use Discord chat for questions too? I don't like YouTube live stream. Alright, you know what? I'm going to head over to Discord right now. Let me perhaps answer some questions there before ending this live stream. So let's head over there. And where is this? Okay, stream chat. Okay, I'm on the stream. I'm on the stream chat channel of my Discord server. Alright, is it a good practice to use a lot of scripts or a lot in stuff? Okay, yeah. Very interesting question, Satan. I think it's better. Well, I personally prefer having loads of smaller scripts than one big script because it's very quick. It's very easy to just get your script very messy looking when it's huge. When you've got like 500 lines of code in one script, very quickly things can get messy and just annoying. So yeah, I prefer making small scripts, but that's really just a preference. So yeah, there's not really any problem of making one big script if you can, but yeah, just play around with both. Everyone spat, oh my, no. Very interesting question, say, haha. Yeah, no, you guys are asking some really great questions, having tons of fun answering them. I almost feel like Bracky's here answering all these questions. Alright. Check the YouTube chat also. I was thinking about, okay, is there a way to make 2D enemies navigate through a terrain and go around? Okay, very interesting question, Thomas. Very cool question. I actually made a tutorial on that topic, but I didn't show in that tutorial how to get enemies, how to get characters avoiding objects. One way you could do that is by using Unity's rays and just shooting out a ray in front of your character, and if that ray hits anything, just get your character to maybe move left until that ray no longer hits any object. Sounds simple, and it is really simple to do, and I might make a tutorial on that. You guys are giving me loads of cool tutorials, tutorial ideas, but yeah, I hope that little tip will help you for now. Novacti says pathfinding algorithms. You can definitely also do that. It gets a little complex after. You have to, get really into programming, but I definitely recommend that you try it out with rays. Who knows? You might get that working. All right. Hi, Mullars Dam. No, Mullard Sam. Let me check Discord now again. Is there any questions? Noah, would you like to help me on a game? It's a multiplayer battle royale game. I only want you to test it. Man, definitely. I would definitely love testing your game. Of course, just send the link in the Discord server, and I'll definitely have fun testing that out and then giving you some feedback. Of course, definitely go ahead. Noah, would you like to help me? No, yeah, okay. Shout out that Ray. Pathfinding is cool. The yummy brown rice just did every single Blackthornprod emoji. Very cool. I personally think using a pathfinding algorithm is better than using a... Oh, yes. Yes, it is better, probably. It's much more effective, but also more complex. I believe it's more complex. I actually have to make a tutorial on this. It looks like a lot of you are interested in this pathfinding thing. I could do that. Can you stay here in Discord and brainstorm with us a bit after the stream? Definitely. I'll be glad to do that, Double System. Definitely. Alright, Alright, so if you guys have no more questions, I'm going to end this live stream, this very first live stream. Again, I had a great time. I'm not sure whether I'll actually put this live stream on the actual channel. I have to check if the quality is good enough, if I'm not saying a load of trash, if my explanations are good. But again, this was really fun, and I'm very excited to do many more live streams. My next one will probably be in April. I think I'll be doing a Firebleed replica, not 100% sure, but I might be doing that. Alright, thanks Satan, nice live stream, really, thanks man. Okay, alright, well I'm going to leave you all, have a great evening, see you very soon. I'll probably be launching a new Blackthornprod video on how to make a Binding of Isaac style random level generation. So that'll be a really cool tutorial. It was voted by the community. Again, if you want to vote on some videos, just join the Blackthornprod Discord server, ask away, and I'll definitely consider your request. Okay guys, cheers!